What's good? What a night in the association. I mean, we witnessed some amazing basketball this evening and also for the nightcap in these round one playoff games in the East and also in the West. LeBron James' greatness, 2020. I mean, Jimmy Butler, playoff Jimmy, 56 points to put his team up 3-1. Both teams, the Lakers and the Heat, are up 3-1 in their series after being play-in teams. I mean, I think this will be the first time that a play-in team advances to the second round of the NBA playoffs. Before I get into this video and the depth of everything, man, the playoffs have been special, but please tap in with me, please like this video. Comment down below your thoughts on the NBA playoffs as well, and also subscribe to the channel and turn on post notifications. Also, before I get into this episode, we have a partnership, man, with SeatGeek. If you're looking for any type of purchasing ticket needs, whether if it's the NBA playoffs, the MLB, the NHL playoffs, or even summer concerts, please hit up SeatGeek and use my promo code CHILLTICKS to get $20 off your first ticket purchase. All right, man, let's get right into it. We have the Miami Heat going up against the Milwaukee Bucks. The Heat were up 2-1 heading into this series tonight, and they beat the Miami Heat 1. Please forgive me, when I recorded this episode, it was 2 a.m. in the morning. The Heat did not beat the Heat. The Heat beat the Milwaukee Bucks, so my bad. Back to the episode. 119-114, and it was not a easy game for the Heat because for the majority of this game, the Miami Heat were down. And collectively around the NBA fandom, the community, we all assumed the Milwaukee Bucks were going to be able to tie this series up tonight, but it didn't happen. Of course, Giannis Antetokounmpo missed games 1, 2, and 3 with a butt injury. I guess he had like a butt bruise or something like that, but he came back in game 4. Like I said, we expected him to come out and really just seal this game up and basically lead his Bucks team to a victory. And like I said, he played well. Brook Lopez played well, but man, playoff Jimmy had a different story. At this point, I think we need to acknowledge Jimmy Butler's greatness, right? I think he kind of convinces us throughout the entire regular season that he's just kind of catting through, right? He's a modest regular season player, very respectable. He's an all-star here and there. He is going to get your all-NBA 30 team votes and whatnot, but he's never going to give, I would say, this type of effort because I think he saves up his body, and I think he understands that when it comes down to it, when it comes down to playoff time, he's going to show up and deliver. And I must say, 56 points. He was 19 for 28 shooting, 3 for 8 from 3, 15 for 18 from the free throw line. He was absolutely amazing. I mean, he scored at one point during this game 20 straight points to put this Heat team in place of victory. I mean, that fourth quarter, oh my goodness, man. Clutch threes, clutch steals for dunks, another clutch three, clutch free throws. I mean, multiple stops. Middleton, Giannis, even guys like Drew Holiday could not stay in front of this man. He was giving out buckets. He was serving these players up. But hats off to the Miami Heat because, like myself and I'm pretty sure others outside of the Heat community and fans, we did not have them winning the series, right? Of course, we assumed that Giannis was going to be able to stay healthy, but I think we underestimated how playoff Jimmy is and how well he can uplift his team throughout the deficiency they faced this entire season. And also, I think we overestimated the greatness of the Milwaukee Bucks without Giannis, because arguably this team this year without Giannis was very good, right? I think that's a huge case in point on why Giannis didn't really, come close to winning MVP. Now, of course, he's going to finish third and stuff like that or whatever, but the fact that this Milwaukee team really played well without Giannis and Middleton for a huge chunk of the season pretty much sold us that, okay, yeah, they're going to miss Giannis for a few games. They should be fine. They should at least beat this Heat team in 6. But the playoffs are a different story, man. A lot of these guys aren't playing well. Grayson Allen isn't shooting the ball consistently. Chris Middleton is playing up and down. Drew Holiday has basically been a no-show. Brook Lopez had his best game in game 4, but he's been, pretty much non-existent as well throughout the series. Bobby Portis has been hurt, but he's been pretty solid in the lineup, right? Joe Ingles, Jay Crowder's getting DMPs. So it's pretty interesting to see how this Bucks team was hyped up all year, and coming into this playoff, I had them being a championship favorite, and they're a 1 game away from elimination. I will say it's not over, right? There's plenty of basketball to be played. They're going back to Milwaukee, and I don't see the Miami Heat closing this series out on the road. So I do believe Giannis gets, one more game under his belt, where I think the Miami Heat have a lot of pressure on them right now, because as we all know, the Heat have been a pretty bad basketball team this year when it comes to their consistencies and stuff like that. But I will say, if Jimmy Butler can go into Milwaukee and beat this team in 5 games, or head back to Miami after game 5 and seal this series up. And if he continues to play like this will arguably be one of the best playoff performances in a series in NBA history. I gotta tip my hat to the Heat, man, because I didn't even want to talk about this series. I didn't want to give this series much airtime because I just assumed that this was going to be an ass whipping and the Bucks were going to just coast their way into the second round and play the winner out of the Cavs and the Knicks. But hats off to Jimmy Butler, man. He's one game away. And also to this Heat team, Kevin Love's been playing good minutes, right? You know, you've been getting some good contributions from Kyle Lowry. You know, Bam Adebayo's been up and down. But Jimmy Butler overall has been fantastic. Moving out to the West, we have the Memphis Grizzlies facing off against the LA Lakers in a pivotal Game 4 matchup as well. The Lakers take a commanding 3-1 lead and really stole this game from the Memphis Grizzlies, in my opinion, because they did play a little lackadaisical at times and they were down, but man, they kept fighting, they kept on getting stops, and LeBron James and Anthony Davis took over in that fourth quarter / overtime. They won today 117-111 in overtime. But we must talk about LeBron James, please, because I know, like I said, Anthony Davis played well. You know, Austin Reeves did his thing where we still give you some good minutes off the bench. Jared Vanderbilt played some good defense. And of course, other guys were a huge intricate on the success for the Lakers tonight. But we cannot not talk about in bulk the greatness of LeBron James. 22, 20, and 7. 22 points, 20 rebounds, and 7 assists. I mean, he was utterly amazing. I mean, Dylan Brooks talked all this shit about how I poke bears. I don't respect anybody until they give me 40. Well, LeBron James gave you a collective 42 points tonight when it came to the boards and rebounds. Dylan Brooks has been awful this series. Ja's been the only one that's been playing and hooping. Desmond Bane had his coming out party tonight in this series, right? I wouldn't say coming out party, but he had his coming out party, as you can say, in this series. He finally woke up. You know, Jaren Jackson played solid. But overall, man, I mean, the Memphis Grizzlies aren't ready yet, you know? And I made a tweet after this game was over. I said it doesn't matter what happens this series, whether if they lose or win. Going into next season, the Memphis Grizzlies need to get humble, right? They need to take a reality check and get humble, you know, and just be respectful and just play the game the right way. Not saying they play the game the wrong way, but all this shit talking about, you know, not fearing anybody in the West, right? You know, Dylan Brooks saying, you know, this and all that, you know, like this team, you know, just being, I don't mind the confidence, but we've seen in back-to-back years where this team has done all this crap talking, all this chest pumping throughout the regular season, and it has amounted to nothing. Now, of course, the series is not over. It's heading back to Memphis for a pivotal Game 5 with a lot of pressure on the line for the Memphis Grizzlies. Of course, if they lose this game, they'll be getting gentlemen swept, and they'll be a second consecutive year of arguably one of the most talented and well-rounded teams in the Western Conference to not make a WCF appearance. Now, of course, they are missing guys like Brandon Clark and Steven Adams, but still, this Memphis Grizzlies team had to play without those guys for a big chunk of the season. I also missed Ja for a lot of the games as well. But I think we have to all understand, man, this Memphis Grizzlies team is not ready. And I hope next year, whatever happens this series, you know, regardless if they win or lose, they go into next season more humble. And they just kind of, you know, just play basketball and not do all this theatrics and all this showboating and stuff, because it's embarrassing, man. Like, Dylan Brooks talks all this noise and all this stuff about LeBron James and how he's old and how this team is old and stuff like that. But you don't even want to do, you know, post-game press conferences, right? The last 2 games you got embarrassed in, you walked out. You know what I'm saying? That's not a good mentality to have, in my opinion. I see guys like Draymond Green that talk shit. Embiid talks his shit. You know, a lot of other players in the league that try to, you know, go back and forth with other players, rather if it's in the media or if it's on the court. They keep it 100 all the way through, right? If they get embarrassed or if they lose in some games in the postseason, they go out to the presser and say, you know what, man, you know, I still stand by what I say, you know, blase. Yeah, we got the loss, but you know what I'm saying, I'm not going to stop doing what I'm doing. I'm going to keep being this alpha dog or this Energizer bunny or this, you know, tyrant from my team to help get us locked in defensively, you know, be that anchor and just be that pulse from my team and help us win games. Dylan Brooks can't even say that. Right, he's not even. I'm not going to challenge his manhood. He's not even confident enough in the game of basketball to go out there and stand on his words. And if LeBron James embarrasses you, or you've been getting extremely outplayed, speak on it. right? You had a chance to speak on it in game 4 when you got ejected for an unlawfully call, in my opinion, where you swiped that LeBron James lower part, reaching for the ball. You got a tech, you got ejected, whatever happened, or a flagrant, however that went. I don't agree with that, but could have immediately said after that game, oh, I don't like how the officiating is, blase, blase. Now, of course, he did that a few days later, but still, like, you know, he's quiet like a church mouse, and I'm not really a big fan of that. Anyway, circling back to LeBron James and his team, man. Shout out to the LA Lakers. I had them winning the series in 7, but it looks to be wrapped up. I say at least go 6. I do want to give respect to this Grizzlies team. They are talented, and I do believe Jaren Jackson can get you one more game and force us to a pivotal game 6 heading back to Crypto Arena. But with all that being said, man, LeBron James, you poked the bear, Dylan Brooks, and I see a confident LeBron James, a motivated LeBron James, and I see this Lakers team dominating, right? They're playing amazing basketball, and they're making key plays down the stretch. Now, it's really setting them up to win this series, and they're looking forward to an exciting matchup possibly against the Kings or the Warriors in round 2. Now, speaking on the Kings and Warriors real quick, I want to touch base on that game. This series is tied up 2-2 heading back to Sacramento. And the reason why I do want to touch base on this game is because, one, the Warriors have tied this series up. And the last time you heard me talk about the Golden State Warriors, I was questioning if this dynasty was on the ropes. And of course, they responded like they always do. And Draymond Green, even though he missed the game, he came back in game 4 and played some good basketball. And also, he played phenomenal defense. Now, the Warriors are heading back to Sacramento for a pivotal game 5 to take a commanding 3-2 lead. And this game will be played on Wednesday. And it looks as if the Kings all-star, first-team All-NBA player, in my opinion, De'Aaron Fox, will not be playing because he fractured his shooting hand. He is doubtful for the game. And that is huge news because essentially this Kings team has been held together strongly by De'Aaron Fox this entire season, and especially in the series. He's been very good. He's averaging like 30 plus a game, shooting around anywhere up north of 45% from the field, around 32% from the 3. He's playing some good basketball, and he is making life hell for the Golden State Warriors. But him not being in his lineup is very troublesome for Mike Brown and his crew, because who else on this team is going to be able to put up the type of performance and production that De'Aaron Fox can? Jonas has been bad. Malik Monk has been up and down. Keegan Murray just had his coming out party in this series in game 4, so that's promising. Kevin Huerter can't throw a rock in the pond. Harrison Barnes is still a brick merchant. So with all that being said, this is very big for the Golden State Warriors because they have a chance to really have a stranglehold in this series and head back to Chase Center in game 6 to really just close this thing out and look forward to a round 2 matchup against the Memphis Grizzlies or the LA Lakers. Biggest thing is for the Warriors, they've been terrible on the road all year. Their first 2 games on the road, they should have won game 1, but they had some bad turnovers and they couldn't hit shots when it mattered most. Game 2, they were up like at 10 at one point, and they just crumbled like a cheap tent in the 4th quarter. And De'Aaron Fox, of course, balled out, and Malik Monk played amazing as well. This team has been bad on the road, but they have a chance to just grab one. Just grab one. That's all you got to do, right? You grab one, you head back to Chase Center, and you're looking at the closest game out and head to the second round. I don't want to talk too much about the Timberwolves and the Nuggets. The Nuggets have a commanding 3-1 lead. Shout out to Anthony Edwards, though. He did not get swept, and he played amazing in game 4 in Minnesota. Karl-Anthony Towns has been a no-show this entire series. It's really been Ant, Rudy Gobert, Mike Conley, and Kyle Anderson. And Prince as well. He's been knocking down some key jumpers. And also Nickeil Alexander. He knocked down some good jumpers in game 4 as well. But Cat has been a no-show, and he's really a main reason why this Timberwolves team is just a game away from being eliminated. But shout out to them. They got a big-time win. Anthony Edwards made it known that he did not want to get swept in the series, and he said he did not want to have a sweet playoff series on his resume as an NBA player. So hats off to him. He played amazing. And shout out to the Denver Nuggets as well. Jokic played unbelievable. I mean, it's hard to sweep teams in this league, man. I mean, not too many teams can do it, right? The Golden State Warriors couldn't even sweep anybody last year, and they won the championship. So Nuggets fans, don't worry. Just handle business, heading back to the mountains. He should be all set and go. Moving on to Tuesday's game, we have a pivotal game 5, Knicks versus the Cavs. We also have a pivotal game 5 of the Clippers and Suns. All I gotta say is one thing, right? The Knicks have been doing everything I thought they could in this series, but better, right? They're playing amazing defense. Jalen Brunson has been outperforming both the dynamic guards the Cavaliers have, and Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. The Cavs have no bench. So I don't see how they can really come back in this series. They might be able to hold down home court one more time, but heading back to MSG and in game 6, you have offensively been challenged this entire series, is a very tough task to ask. So shout out to the Knicks. I do believe they will wrap the series up in at least 5 or 6 games. And this will be their first playoff series win since I was in middle school, and that was back in like 2013, 2012, something like that. So yeah, it's been a very long time, but shout out to the Knicks, man. It's almost done. Clippers and Suns, I think this series ends tomorrow. Russell Westbrook has been playing amazing, but unfortunately, Kawhi Leonard with the knee injuries, man, he is out for game 5 as well. I would save my in-depth take about Kawhi Leonard later in future episodes, right? It's unfortunate, man. He has a bad knee. He has chronic knee issues, right? And he's never going to be the same. It doesn't matter how much you load manage for Kawhi Leonard. Better yet, it doesn't really matter how much you load manage for any of these players in the NBA, because injuries are going to happen, right? You can't avoid it. It's going to happen. But unfortunately, like I said previously, Kawhi has chronic knee issues, and this is going to be the tale of his entire career until he ends up retiring, man. It's very unfortunate because he was playing lights out. He looked like a top 5 player in the NBA once again, and he also like the best player on the floor for both teams in this series. But shout out to Russell Westbrook, man. I love this pickup from the get-go when they got him out the buyout market from the Utah Jazz, and he has been amazing since stepping foot back in LA, but for a different team and a different uniform. He's been playing amazing, right? I think he had the most points in his career and the most assists as well without a turnover against the Suns in game 4. He's been MVP Russ, 2016 Russ. He's been carrying this team, and it's great to see because a lot of people try to count this man out. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's a top 75 player of all time. He is a fantastic point guard, one of the best point guards in this era of basketball. We got to put some respect on Russ's name, man. He's been amazing, and he's showing that once again in the series. But with all that being said, the Suns are going to wrap this up, in my opinion, in game 5. The Clippers just don't have enough. I think if they did have enough, this could be a series that they could possibly win, because the Suns, they still look like trying to figure themselves out. Right? The chemistry isn't all the way there. Yes, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and KD played amazing in game 4, but it's a struggle. These guys are still playing 40+ minutes in the series. And of course, if you're Monty Williams, you tell this team, or the players might think, yes, it don't matter, man, because if we get this game over in 5, have a good enough time to just rest and rehabilitate. But still, man, it's not really too pretty for me to see this Suns team struggling against a Clippers team that doesn't have PG or Kawhi Leonard in their lineup. With all that being said, the association so far in this first round of the playoffs has been amazing. Anyways, thank you for tapping in with me. Like I said previously, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below your thoughts about the NBA playoffs as well. Turn on post notifications, because I will be getting into some NFL draft content later on this week before draft night. But that's about it, man. Thank you for tapping in. See y'all later. That's a wrap.